What's going on, everyone? So, we are vastly approaching the upcoming 28 years later, and I'm really excited for it, right? And this is supposed to be the start of several films to come, and we'll see what direction they go with that. But one of the big things that I want to talk about, and I hope that they address in this film, is that it appears to be contained in Britain, right? That the rage outbreak, the zombie outbreak, it's not like the traditional zombies in the traditional sense. It's, the inner rage that we have that makes us bloodlust, essentially, right? That they were able to essentially contain it to this place, right? And then based on the information we have through the trailers and stuff, right? That, you have this colony that's found peace and happy, and then it's just kind of this rite to passage, right? In the most recent trailer, you see that, some of the people in the little town or city, whatever, are like, don't you think he's a little young? And the guy's like, no, he's fine. He's ready. He's old enough type thing, right? And so they're obviously going to set off on this adventure, off of this journey. And again, it's like this rite of passage. You go in, which I think is a little weird. You're going to go, fight zombies and stuff as like a rite of passage. I'd be like, hey, Dad, appreciate it, but hard pass for me, thanks. But nonetheless, right? Like, that's kind of their thing. They go out there and they do it. What I imagine we're going to get probably to start the film, or maybe, like during the credits or whatever, right? Maybe we get something where it's like think of the Dawn of the Dead remake, right? Where you kind of got how everything happened in the start of the movie, like in the opening credits and everything, right? You kind of got like the scenes and stuff. And then even at the end, right, you kind of got scenes that kind of explain like the aftermath and what happened and stuff, and kind of like left you off on this cliffhanger. That is kind of maybe something that I could see this following suit, that they kind of have where they explain everything kind of in the opening credits. Or I think there'll be some dialogue or something, or maybe some voiceover or something. I just hope we get some information as to how and why. Obviously, what has happened, over the 28-year span, right? But more than anything, how did they contain everything, right? Like, so quickly, right? Because, like, that was spreading, and it was spreading rather quickly, and it seemed like it was a global thing, right? Like, at least that's your interpretation in the first one, right? But then now you fast forward to this. Is it something that they weren't able to contain initially, but eventually, they were eventually able to contain it? It kind of forced all of them into, Britain, and just were able to contain it there. And it's just kind of like, hey, don't go over there. That's where the zombies go. Is it like a vacation resort? Right? Like, hey, you go stay at this city, and then we'll give you a helicopter ride, and you can just take out zombies along the way. Like, how, like, like, how do they go about this? Right? Because, like, I could see something like that. Right? Like, there's a lot of people that I think would go like, man, I could take a helicopter ride and just like pick off zombies and stuff, go hunting, right? Like, have like this most dangerous game type thing where you're like hunting zombies down and stuff, right? Like, so the rite of passage thing I think is interesting, because it's like, like maybe like when you're an adult, but like going into the territory and taking out zombies and stuff, that I think would be like a regular thing. Right? Because there are people that are crazy enough, or, want to go hunting enough or whatever, right? Like, a little unstable to where they'd be like, I have this entire city, right? Like, that I can basically black ops zombies in, right? I think you'd have people that would just be putting together their buddies and like tactical teams that think like, I've played 20 hours or 20,000 hours of Black Ops Zombies. I can just get in there and just do, right? Like, I do. I think it'd be very interesting. And then like, also, why didn't like the NATO or whatever? Why didn't they just like, boom, end it, get rid of the zombies, right? Like, I don't know. It's just, there's a lot to kind of be left to the imagination right now. And I hope that some of it, I don't necessarily expect all of it to get explained, because even if you do explain some of that stuff, right? Like, it's just, you could go down, it's one of those things where you could ask why forever. Well, why? okay, well then why, right? Like, you just keep going down these rabbit holes. But I do hope at least, like, I want to know, how did they at least contain it? Right? How did they contain the zombies? And then two, why didn't they just like, boom, right? Get what I'm saying? Like, problems, goodbye, like, boom, and no more zombies, right? Like, is there a reason behind that? Is there, like, maybe they just did it when they were just like, that's their problem, right? Like, that sounds something like the U.S. would do, where they just be like, hey, any U.S. problem, that's their problem. Let them figure that out, right? Like, do they got some oil, right? Like, it's just, but no, in all seriousness, right? Obviously, I'm joking, but in all seriousness, it's like, I hope that we get some explanations. I hope we get some type of just insight into it all, right? I hope we get some type of like, history and backstory, right? At some point. I'm not saying, again, that they have to do it immediately as soon as the movie starts. We need to know, like, what, like, no, like, you can kind of piece it together over the course of the movie, but I'd like to kind of have like, this film seems to be like it's going to be the setup and establishment film. Right, like, Cillian Murphy is supposed to be in the next one that's coming up. Supposedly he's not in this one, because there's a lot of people that, myself included, that were like, oh, there's Cillian, right? And turns out that, oh no, that's not Cillian. That's just another one of those zombies, right? So there is supposed to be, more films in the works. So my guess is that, again, this is kind of the foundation film. This is kind of the, hey, let's lay the groundwork, and then that will lead into like the ramping up of the other ones. And maybe that leaks now into, other countries and surrounding areas and stuff like that, right? Or maybe that city and that town end up getting exposed and attacked and whatever, right? Like, so I do imagine that this is a setup, but in being a setup film, I hope that they actually like give us the information necessary going forward. I hope, I imagine some stuff is going to kind of just get lost in the wind or brushed over or whatever, right? I do think some stuff is going to kind of just, hey, whatever. But I do, at least the containment side of it, right? Like the like, why didn't all the other countries just like take them all out, right? Like, just annihilate it. Is there a purpose? Is there a reason? Like, what's the deal here, right? Like, I hope that at least those elements of this upcoming film are explained, lay the foundation, let us kind of know the deal. So that way you can kind of just, hey, full-fledged, let's get into, the next 2 installments or however many they end up doing. I imagine if this is successful, they just kind of keep going. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question. You let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me, disagree with me, kind of mixed in the middle? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. Lets me enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.